Happy Easter, Flosstube. This is Lori of MischievousStitches, and I'm back with you again this Easter weekend to share with you my progress on my current cross-stitch focus pieces. So I've got several pieces to show, actually 3 focus pieces, as well as a little bit of haul and answer a couple of questions and something I found this weekend I want to share with you about storage. So let's just jump right on in. So this past week, one of my goals, or my main goal, was to continue working on A Sampler Story by Brenda of the Sampler Company. And this is the piece that I focused on all through last month and hope to focus on through for a finish. Now, I doubt very seriously I'll finish it in April, maybe pushing it to finish it in May. So let's just say by June, I have plans to hopefully have this finished so I can get it off and get it framed. So let me show you where I'm at. So I did reach my goal. My goal was to finish 2 of the blocks. So I finished Adam and Eve and the house right below Adam and Eve. Now on Friday night, I got home from work. I had the house completed, all but the background color of the house. The windows were complete, the roof, the yard, and all I had to do was fill in the house. And I did. I got that done. But I did it in the wrong color. And this is 1/1 on 25 count. So the house is supposed to be burgundy. But I come home, I'd had a rough work week. I took a bath, had dinner, took a bath, went upstairs, gonna stitch the night away, stitch my work week worries away. And I stitched the wrong color. But I had turned on Netflix. One of my favorite musicals, My Fair Lady, is now on Netflix, so I decided to watch that, and I thought it would be a perfect way to watch that movie that I've seen so many times and fill in the house, get that completed, meet my goal. I met my goal with the wrong thread color. But am I pulling it out? No, I am not. So this week, I hope to get 1 more square done. And I am going to do a couple more threads in the border boxes and get those done. But I'm happy on the progress I'm making on this piece. I've had this in my stash. I picked it up as a whip for this year, which I'm focusing on my whips this year. I've really enjoyed working on it. As 1/1, it gets a little tedious sometimes, so every now and then I'll take a little break, but I'm gonna come back to it because I really do wanna finish it, and hopefully by the summer I'll have that done. So I also picked up this week my other piece, which is, where's the pattern? There it is. In My Father's House by the Bay Needlearts. And I'm stitching along on this with my friends MelyEllyStitches, which is right here on Flosstube. I'll link her below. And Stitching by the Pond on Instagram, Miranda. We're stitching along on this together. And I didn't reach my goal on this one. I was hoping to get the windows in, at least I guess you would call it the boxing of the windows in. And I did not get that done, but I did get some progress. So progress is progress. So I did get all 4 chimneys in, and all but just a little bit. I have finished those chimneys. The roof itself is going to be 3371, which is what's at the top of the chimneys, is going to be the roof. And they're done in Smyrna crosses and cross stitches. I may put in the cross stitches and come back when I've completed all the cross stitching to do the Smyrna crosses, because I don't want them to get crushed, because I do iron my pieces weekly as I show them on my Flosstube, and I don't want them getting crushed. So I'm gonna hold those to the end. I also got the head and tail of one of the sheep. You can see them right there to the right of the grass. So the grass is a big area beneath. It's a lot of grass. So I want to put in some grass this week and work more towards getting those windows boxed in. And so that'll be my goal. So I don't have a plan to get a lot done on that this week because I have another piece that I want to focus on this month. and it's Christ in Gethsemane. So this is one of my oldest pieces. It's an old whip. I don't remember if I started this in the late 90s or the early 2000s. I did change the fabric color. I just think it's a beautiful piece. So I pulled this one out. Now the background is done with one strand, one leg of the cross, where Jesus himself is done with 2 strands, full cross. And so I'm going to primarily focus on Jesus this week. I'm also going to work on him totally today, with it being Easter Sunday. And I hope to have a finish on him soon. I would love to just knock this one out and get this one hanging. So at some point, because I thought I had lost the pattern, and I found it recently going through whips and moving things upstairs to my stitch room. And with that being said, I have unkitted the threads from this, because at the time of me stitching this, I used bobbins. I kept my threads stored on bobbins, and then I had a box just for my current whips, which at the time I was to stitch on one at the time. And so I pulled some of the threads, because now I use the floss tags, and I pulled some of the threads today, and this isn't all of them. And today made me kind of second guess my use of the floss tags and staying with the rings. And I say that because this is a 3-inch ring, and I have all my unused threads that aren't currently with projects. I put them on these 3-inch rings. And the reason I used the 3-inch rings with this is because I knew I would need bobbins too. This is the only threads I had on floss tags already that would go with the Jesus piece. My issue was is just with, they're organized on rings. I have currently 4 rings of these, and they're organized by numerical order. But it's a little bit trickier pulling threads off of these, because you find them and then you've got to unclasp it and clasp the ring and put it, snap it back together, find the next color, next thread number color, unsnap it, pull the color off you need, snap it back together. Where the bobbins, where I had them stored in the little plastic bobbin containers, I just pull them out a lot easier. Now I have several bobbin containers. I have those numbered, and on the outside I have them labeled with the numbers that are inside. I can find them very easily. But I have been trying to transition from the bobbins to these, but I'm not sure that I want to stay that way anymore. I'm thinking I'm going to go back to the bobbins. I find the bobbins are a little more time consuming as you're actually stitching. So if you've got a kind of confetti heavy or a piece that you're changing colors often, with a bobbin, you have to unwind the threads, thread your needle, wind it back on, and then get stitching. With this, I'll stick my needle under one of these strands and just pull that length off. Also with the bobbins, when you've used all of your current cut length, you unwind it, and I usually pull mine off up to my shoulder. What is that? Maybe an 18-inch length. And then I cut it, and that's what I work on. But then you thread it back on, you roll it back onto your bobbin. So not sure if I'm gonna stay this way, even though I've done it for a while. It's pretty to see my colors all out like this. That's part of the reason I do it. I don't know. Just like I said, it was just something as I was pulling these colors again to start working on Jesus today that I noticed the difference. With that being said, that's all for my whips, but I do have some haul to share with you. So if you remember a couple of videos ago, I have been stitching JBW Designs, or it's not called Anne of Green Gables, it's called Green Gables, based on Anne of Green Gables, the book. And so I've been rereading Anne of Green Gables at night before bed, and I ordered some fabric because Riley Blake has just released a new line of Anne of Green Gables fabric. So I picked out a couple. I could buy only by the yardage, and I picked up a couple of yards of 2 colors, and I want to share them with you. I got them from Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I'll link that below. And so I wanted this one because it has Anne and her friends. And then this beautiful plum color fabric, floral fabric, I really like it. So hopefully soon, with all the new zippers that I got, I'm gonna put together a couple of bags with this Anne of Green Gables fabric. So I'll link these fabrics below at Missouri Star Quilt Company. You can get them from other places. That just happens to be who I ordered them from, because Jenny of Missouri Star is right here on YouTube too. And as I was trying to teach myself how to do small quilt things, I watched her many of her videos, and some of them multiple times to learn. And I think she's amazing at giving people like me that had never done that kind of thing before confidence that they can do it. So I'm going to link that below, but here are the 2 fabrics. And there's other colorways. There's greens and beiges and pinks. Just everything you could imagine Anne of Green Gables loving. So there's those. And I got a little bit of haul. I got a few pieces from down Sunshine Lane, and I got a couple of pieces from Teresa Kitten Stitcher, so I'm going to share those with you. Now, this is a new to me designer, but I'm looking through the expo releases, and I see these pieces, and I had to have them. So I found them on down Sunshine Lane, and this is Moho Stitches. This is Sarah Handley, 1847. Now, it's not framed typically how you see a sampler framed, and this is a reproduction. But I love it. I think it's beautiful. The framing is perfect for the sampler, and I look forward to stitching it because it is so bright and happy. Because most all of these samplers were stitched by young girls, and young girls are not going to choose the faded threads that we see now. As these pieces age, the threads fade. They're not what those young girls stitched with originally. They were much more happy and alive than the faded remnants of what they originally stitched. So this makes me think of a young girl and her choice of colors. The other one was a red sampler. So I've done a couple of red samplers myself, and I look forward to doing this one. Now, it is a reproduction sampler, but the designer replaced the young lady who stitched it with red work, which I think is beautiful. And once again, I love the framing on this. And I believe she used, when I read over this, she used Silks for You fabric, but she gives you, yes, she did. And she gives you all the websites and things of where to get those on the pattern. But I'm happy to have these, and I look forward to what this designer puts out again. She has listed on the pattern her website and her Etsy shop, so I will link those below so you can go check out Moho Stitches. I also picked out something out of the clearance bin, and this is Barbara Anna Designs Mary Pepper Pouch. So this year for me has been all about finishing prior finishes, but also about learning new techniques of finishing. And I have done a drawstring pouch, but I have not done one of these more, I would say, folk arty, more simplistic type pouches, and I'm interested in doing that. This is such a sweet, cute, fall-ish design, and this will be something else that I can do to teach me. So I'll have another tool in my tool belt. I'll have another finish that I can use in years to come by finishing up this pattern in this way. Now, I was inspired this week by another Flosstuber again, which is Helen D. I'll list her below. She was sharing on her most recent video that she finished a drum, and I think it was a heart and hand piece I may be wrong about the designer, but it's the designer that does the alphabet rows. And so they're just long, skinny rows of alphabet for different seasons. I have actually stitched the one for Valentine's Day. I think there's a gnome. There is a St. Patrick's Day. I'm sure there's a Christmas. There's several of them. Helen has taken hers, and I don't remember which one she used, and it may have been St. Patrick's Day, but she had stitched it and finished it into a drum. And since it's a long piece, she had a wide drum, but it was, I don't know if that was her first one, but she talked about using Vanna Pfeiffer's tutorial for the drum finish, how she went about it, just like I'm doing here. She's just discussing how she finished it and the trials and tribulations of finishing that item. What really cracked me up is she is talking about stuffing the drum and how Vanna suggested when you think you've got enough stuffing, just stuff it some more. And the way Helen described that is, you know, when you're having Thanksgiving dinner and you're stuffed and you don't think you can eat anymore, and then they bring out pie. I got that. That just rang true with me, and it just really cracked me up. So I think anytime I ever finish a drum, I'm going to have the earworm of Helen and the way she described it running through my head. So probably in May, when I choose my two for the coming month to fully finish of my previous finishes, I'm going to pull that row out, and I'm going to finish it just as Helen did, because she's inspired me to do that as a drum. And it will be my first drum finish, so I'm looking forward to it, and I thank you for inspiring me to do that and sharing, putting a smile on my face that day and making me laugh. So I always enjoy her videos. For me, she inspires me to do things in a different way, and I love her sense of humor. So if you're not watching her, go take a look. I'll link her below as well. Okay, back to haul. So I got some more haul from Teresa Kitten Stitcher. And I might have them mixed up. So I bought some from Down Sunshine Lane, some from Kitten Stitcher, and I might have them mixed up as to who I got from what I got from who. But these I've already put in pouches. And thanks for everyone that commented last week about the sound of the zipper. I'm not alone in that. So many of you agreed that hearing that zipper open puts a smile on your face too. And I think it's because we know what's inside of this bag. So we love to hear that noise because it's letting us into our stash. But this is a Stacy Nash piece. This is Rose Cottage Sampler Pin Keep. And it's just a sweet little sampler. And I look forward to stitching that sometime soon. So she stitched it on 36 count week style works linen with on Confederate gray. And it has about 8 different colors, and it's listed in DMC threads. So it can't get much simpler than that. But I love those colors. So I have that one. And I got a couple of Plum Street sampler pieces. This is Tomato Jane. I love some tomato pin keeps. But I'm not crazy about the fabric color on this one. I love the tomato, but I think I will also change the color of the tomato. I did look, and you've got the tomato blossoms are yellow, like I think they should be. But I think I'll darken up and make this more a true red. And that's the color I think a tomato should be, a bright red, or you know, maybe if you're making it into a heirloom tomato, have a little bit of the darker green in it. I may try to give that a try too. But I think this is a sweet little piece for those that like tomatoes, especially this coming year. I'm looking forward to fresh tomatoes, and we live in an area, there's always a roadside farm roadside stand that we can pick up fresh tomatoes. And with a lot of the COVID restrictions being relaxed, I'm looking forward to a lot of the summertime festivals in the area. Just looking forward to it. So with that being said, when I go to stitch it, I think I'm going to choose a different color fabric. Paulette used Virginia Beach Blue 36 count. I may use a more neutral color. If this is what Virginia Beach Blue looks like, it looks blue. So I would want something more earth toned, more neutral. But there's that. And then I picked up another one of hers. This is Nightshade Bird. And speaking of drums again, I have seen a couple of you that have finished this up on Instagram, and it is beautiful. And it seems that these two colors are a little more vibrant than what you see here, a little more pinky. And it may just be those particular stitchers that may have changed the color a bit, but I love it as it is, but I also love what I saw on Instagram. So this is something I look forward to stitching as well. Paulette has some really great designs. And then I had a freebie that came with my order from Kitten Stitcher. There's this, and it is called Summer Bees and Flowers. And it's just 5 different colors, and she just basically, you know, is talking about us all sitting at home this past year and stitching, you know, with COVID. So there's that. And then I picked up one more, and I had seen this one on and off for a while, and I've just never pressed purchase. So while I was picking up those Expo designs, I decided to pick this one up, and it's Sarah Steele, 1772, and this is by the Antique, it's an antique sampler by Jan Alexander. And I know she has an Etsy shop as well. And this is Tree of Life samplings. Yes, Tree of Life samplings. Let me get a little closer. Can you see it? I think it's beautiful. So there's that. And then I've gotten a lot of questions, a lot of comments on how my pieces are always crisp when I do my videos. And I shared last week that that's because I always iron them before doing the video. I like that. Not necessarily that they're ironed, but I like that each week I am ironing the wrinkles that I have placed into my pieces, whether it be on a hoop or for me holding it in my hand. I like starting off every Sunday evening with a fresh, crisp piece of linen to stitch with. I wanted to share with you what I use because I've gotten that too. I don't iron it on an ironing board. Last year, one of my quilting friends shared this mat with me, and I love it. And I immediately, when she shared it with me, I purchased one because I immediately thought of cross stitch and that I could stitch my pieces. This is just a wool mat, so it's natural fibers. It's probably, what, about a 3/4 of an inch thick. And I lay my pieces right side down and iron from the back. And I do that every weekend. Now the heat of the iron, I would not iron with this placed on anything that you would not want to get moist, because these natural fibers trap that heat. So even though you're not pressing the iron directly on the top of your stitching, the heat is trapped in this mat, so it is still, it's giving it maybe like a moist, not necessarily a steam, but like I said, the fibers are trapping the heat of that iron. And it makes ironing my pieces so much easier on that linen. But it will on whatever side you have facing down. Like I put mine on my kitchen countertop and then I iron it. And when I pick it up, there's often moisture on my countertop from me ironing. So just know that you wouldn't want to put it on, like I said, on a wood surface or anything you would worry about moisture damaging. And it's not a lot of moisture, but it is moisture. But I've had this for a little over a year now. I only iron, I have an ironing board for my clothes, but when I'm doing my needlework, that's the only thing this is used for. And there's another trick that I have, and I learned this from Vanna Five for the Twisted Stitcher. When I first started doing Flosstube, she talked about best press, and it's Mary Ellen's best press. I have been using this for a long time now. I would say at least 3 years. And I will give my piece now, especially when I'm getting ready to frame it. I'll give it 2 or 3 spritz of this and iron it, and it knocks every wrinkle out. I've used it on hand-dyed threads, hand-dyed fabric. I have never had it bleach, discolor, leave stains. I've never had any issue using this with my stitching. Now, that's not to say others have or haven't. I haven't, and I use this on my pieces all the time. So I will link both of these below for those that have asked about my iron and my pieces, so you can take a look for yourself. But it's a wool mat. Like I said, it's natural fibers. The other thing, I was so excited. My husband has some things to pick up at Walmart today, and I'm just moseying around. He's in the guy section of the store back in the automotive. And I'm just moseying around, and I just happened to spy this as I'm passing an aisle, and it's going to be perfect. Now, up in my stitch room, I have a small love seat that I stitch on. I have an old wooden ironing board that I lay my finishes across. I don't want them in anything that a plastic bin. I just don't like the thought of it. So I found this. I think it's going to work perfectly. Plus, I can slide it under that love seat. There's enough room beneath it. So it's a little storage container with tiny little caster wheels. It's only about, I would say, maybe 5 inches deep. And then it has, and I've not taken anything off of it, but it has a zipper cover that zips across the top. So you see the zipper here on the edge? And of course, because they've had it ready to be sold, I just got to cut the little plastic piece that's holding it. The plastic cover is folded over, and then it is held together so that you can, for purchase. Anyway, it also has 2 handholds on each side. So when I get upstairs this evening, I should be able to lay most. Let me see, what are the dimensions? It is 16 inches wide by 26 inches. So 16 by 26, and then it is 5.9 inches high. So I'm thinking most all of my finishes will lay in this flat, and I should be able to store all my current finishes in this and slide it up under that love seat. That's my idea. So if you are interested in, I'll see if I can link this below. Like I said, I got this at Walmart. This is Better Homes and Gardens rolling underbed storage. I just think it'll work perfectly. It is fabric covered. The only plastic part is this here. I'll let you know how it goes maybe next weekend if you're interested, but I'm really liking what I've got going on in my mind. Other than that, that's all I've got to share with you. So this week, I will continue to work on my focus pieces. I don't know that I'll get to making my Anne of Green Gables bag, but I'll list the fabric and I'll list the book below for those that haven't read it. You may want to check it out. It is for young girls, pre-teenish ages, but it made an impact on me at a young age, and or you can, rent it, download it from your local library. I'm going to list the fabrics below and continue to work on my focus pieces, and I'm going to store my finished pieces in my new little storage tote. But until next time, cross all the X's. Hugs and stitches. Bye-bye.